Well, hello again, brothers and sisters in Christ. Pastor Mike here again. We are getting ready for the weekend with July 18th as Sunday. And there's a lot going on. Thankfully, the rain has come back. But right now, we're shifting gears here at church. Even as things are opening up, I know I'm shifting gears toward this addition to the service this Sunday. And that's the first thing for the midweek meditation. I know some people might be confused about what's going on or these sorts of things, but I've kept it broad for a reason. The explanation is because there's a lot of stuff that happened during COVID, and I'm trying to make sure that, well, people have the opportunity and that I remember kind of the stuff that we weren't able to observe as well. I use the word observe because funerals, baptisms, all of those pieces, graduations, people had to do alternative things. And with the alternative things, there was usually less people that were able to engage it in many ways, which is unfortunate because as I've gone on in life and I've been a pastor, I've noticed that we are far more connected than we give ourselves credit for. So what do I mean? Let's take a graduation. So a kid graduates from college, right? Or high school, or maybe even, let's say, back in the day, eighth grade. People might say, all right, yeah, obviously, the parents, the siblings, aunts and uncles, they'll enjoy it and they should be able to gather. But it's more than that. As a pastor, I'm often invited, and I like seeing those kids graduate. I have the odd reality of watching these kids sometimes from fifth grade up through high school grow and mature, and it's cool. And I actually care about these kids, and I want to congratulate them that they've grown. Regardless of grades or where they're going afterwards, they've continued to become who God has created them to be. There's also friends of the family. There are probably people that are friends of the parents of the ones graduating that have watched the kid grow up too and are happy and want to be supportive of the parents. And as you think about these webs of our existence, we're really, really connected. And we were not fully able to utilize some of those webs of our existence during COVID. And so I want to have a time during our service to recognize and have people think about, pray, give thanks, have those connections. Maybe honor that those webs were not utilized as much as they should because they matter to us. I mean, they do. Um, I care about sometimes parishioners' siblings that are out and about in the world. They matter. And so that is the point of the service, which is interesting because some of our texts for the Sunday lead toward this. Um, there's healing, but there's also this sense of a shepherd. Now, Good Shepherd Sunday is an interesting Sunday, but that's usually around Easter as we think about who God is. But this is, in some ways, the other half of that reality. Jesus is a shepherd, but what does shepherding look like? In the Jeremiah text and in the gospel text, we get some of the senses. And it's caring and herding is the term that I will use. The caring is simple. The miracles, the healing, the feeding, all those things is what the good shepherd does for the sheep. Good shepherd cares for the sheep, period. You look at their needs, he's on it. But one of the interesting pieces, especially in the Jeremiah, is the call for the shepherd to again gather the people, to herd them together. The herd is an interesting word, H-E-R-D. We often view it as a negative, like, oh, you just follow the herd. As a pastor, when I think about the shepherd metaphor, I don't think about it as a negative. I think about it as a positive. Is that the herd is a good phrase for a larger community. It is numerous families, peoples, communities connected around Christ. The church is in many ways a herd around the Good Shepherd. The term pastor even is a reference to the pastoral reality of herding sheep. Yeah, we even have the wonderful stained glass at the front of the sanctuary about Christ the Good Shepherd. And so this week, it is this wonderful text that in some ways matches really well with observing what we were not able to, with God regathering us together. just as the prophet tells the people that there were things that happened, things that went wrong, things that did not happen good. But God has not forsaken his people and will gather them together. In many ways, throughout the church, through Israel and all these things, there is this movement of people having hiccups, problems, mess ups, and the herd having an issue. Maybe it's the one escaping, the one in the 99 that we hear Jesus talk about, or somebody's having a hard go and they can't handle it and they run off. Again, the shepherd regathers. Maybe it's even a part of the text where in Matthew, where it's the admonition of people who are hurting the herd, where there is that concept of, and this is where excommunication comes from, where they're not acting appropriately, so they need to be separated the herd to preserve it. But always with the understanding that they will be healed and worked on and try to be brought back. It's like a spiritual timeout. I know people say that's a funny term, but that's what in many ways the truth of excommunication was meant to be. It wasn't meant to be this permanent thing. It was that this guy needs, or gal needs, a timeout from the community because they can't handle it. And it's hurting relationships and those sorts of things. They need to go calm down. They need to figure some stuff out. Then maybe they need to grow. But the church never ignores them, but always in the understanding of trying to reaffirm their presence in the community when health is restored. There's also events that shatter the community. 480, Babylonian captivity. Israel had a hard go with that. All these sorts of things is part of also God's role. There's going to be stuff that causes fracturing, friction, and breaking. But as a church and as God's people, we understand that he is at work regathering in those ways. And part of also Sunday will be honoring God's work through all the tomfoolery of the past couple of years, of continuing to draw us together. And shoot, maybe for the past 156. Because this is not the first hiccup this congregation has faced. World wars, depression, all these other sorts of things. God has been at work. And I don't think there's the first or last time that people have been frustrated about what's happening in the world. No. But God continues to work to regather. And as we do that and observe these events, I want to have an undercurrent of thanks and gratitude. Yeah, nobody wishes it would have happened. In hindsight, yeah. But ultimately, through the hiccups, the strikes and the gutters, the ups and the downs, the good Lord continues to gather his community. And that is one of the things we always need to be grateful for. Those are my midweek meditations. Those are my thoughts. It might be a little bit earlier than midweek, but some stuff to think about as we get toward the Sunday. Maybe some grist for the mill for y'all. Above all, blessings. If you need me, let me know. If there's questions, if there's anything specific you want to remember, please give me a holler. All right, blessings, brothers, sisters in Christ. We'll talk to you soon. Bye now.